Hey guys, it's Jerry with the Busy Boarder, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make faster, tighter, more controlled turns in just 15 minutes of practice. Let's get into it. So when it comes to making turns on a snowboard, the main thing that causes us to turn is steering. And we can steer our board using different aspects of our body. Normally in the beginning we start steering using our shoulders and our arms. When we move our shoulders, the board eventually follows our shoulders. As we progress, that steering gets initiated further down our body, at our hips, at our knees, and eventually at our toes. Think of it as using a pencil. When we use our pencil, we usually hold it at the bottom and we write from there because it's most responsive there. If you were to try writing from the top of a pencil, you could do it, but it would be messy and very unresponsive. It's very much like snowboarding. If we turn just using our shoulders, it takes a while for that message to reach the board to cause it to turn. But if we can send that message further down in our body, like from our hips or from our knees, and ultimately from our toes, that response arrives to the board a lot faster. So a simple drill for teaching you how to steer better is the flashlight drill. So start off by using a flashlight in your hand, pretending there's one in your hand, flashing it in the direction that you want to go. That's going to cause your shoulders to rotate. Okay, and it's eventually going to get your board, it's eventually going to steer your board in the right direction. Next, the flashlight goes onto your hip. So you're going to shine that flashlight off of your hip in the direction you want to go. After that, you want to get the flashlight onto your knee. So we're going to be twisting our knee back and forth in the direction of travel that you want to go. And finally, that flashlight is going to get onto our foot. We're going to twist our foot back and forth in the direction that we want to go. And in the end, what you really want to do is actually coordinate all of those together. Flashlight in the hand, flashlight on the hip, knee and the foot. And if you can coordinate all of those together, you're going to get a very dynamic steering power going through your board. Let me show you how that looks on the snowboard. So I got the flashlight in my front hand here. Gonna shine it to the right to turn to the right. Just checking that no one's coming. Shine it to the left. Turn to the left. Just using those arms and my shoulders. Your back hand is doing the opposite of your front hand. That's really important. You don't have your back hand coming out like this. It does the opposite. Okay. Nice and easy. Watch out for the ice. Okay, now I'm gonna get the flashlight onto my hip. I'll try and keep my shoulder static so I can just isolate that hip rotation here. Here we go. Hip. You might not be able to see it so well, but I'm really turning that hip. To the left. Turn the hip to the right. Just that front of the hip's got a flashlight on it there. Shoulders are basically neutral if you can keep them that way. Okay, now we're going to go to the next level of putting the flashlight onto the knee. Isolated there, not using the shoulders or the hip if you can, avoid it. Just that front knee. Going to the left, going to the right. Getting a pretty fast response out of that. And I'm on a pretty flat slope here, but get that knee. You don't want to crank it too much. You don't want to get an injury or anything like that. Okay. Finally, putting the flashlight onto my front foot. Here we go. Turning that foot to the left. Turn that foot to the right. And that response is super fast. You can also pretend you're putting out a cigarette with your toe and then with your heel. Toe, heel, toe, heel. And that response is super fast. The turn or just whipping around. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is just incorporate all of those elements. Flashlight in the hand, on the hip, on the knee, and on the foot. Try and just synchronize them all together here. Here we go. conditions are pretty choppy here, but man, I just feel that board just whipping around. Make sure that back hand is doing the opposite of your front. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is just gonna ride normal, not thinking about the flashlight at all, and just see how my regular riding has changed. Just relaxing into normal turns. And you'll just find that that steering was just automatically upgraded into your regular riding. Fun when you can control the board like that. Okay, so I've got my board strapped onto my front leg here, and just want to show you how steering looks. So if I turn my shoulders, it's going to cause my hip to turn a bit, it's going to cause my leg to twist a bit, and eventually my board's going to also twist. Okay, it takes quite a few steps for that message from my shoulders to reach the board. But if I start with my hip, turn my hip, my leg's gonna immediately turn, and then my foot's gonna catch up, and then the board's gonna catch up, okay? If I skip the hip and I just go to my knee, that reaction is quite a bit quicker than from my shoulders or my hand, okay? And if I just focus on my toes themselves and my heels, the response is immediate, really. I turn my foot to the right, the board's just automatically going to the right. Turn to the left, going to the left, okay? And if I can coordinate all of these together, you got a way more dynamic steering ability running through your body and into your board. It's much like golfing. When you do a golf swing, if you analyze a golf swing, there's a lot of different components going on there. You got the hip that's turning, and then the shoulder that's turning, and then the arm joins in, and the wrist turn in, and it all synchronizes together to create power into the golf ball. Similar with snowboarding, you got your head, your arms, your shoulders, your hip, your knees, and your feet. If you can coordinate all those together into a fluid motion, you're gonna get a very dynamic, very tight radius, very controlled turn that's gonna get you through those tight spaces, no problem. And in the end, you're gonna have a very dynamic slide turn capability. Go out and get busy boarding.